You're going to see when I set this up, I didn't think the notes section would come up. So you're going to see all my notes as we go by. But just drop me, I'm going to ask Lauren actually, just to make sure you can hear me nice and clear. Lauren, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Right, let's do this. Hopefully, you've got a pen and paper. Because, like I say, we're going to deep dive into this. And I'll be honest with you, I don't really like talking about nutrition, don't really like talking about diets. When someone says to me about tracking calories, like it's not something I fully believe in. And I'm going to go through I'm going to literally do you'll see a slide there, it literally says a 5 minute nutrition talk. I'm going to do a 5 minute nutrition talk with you. And then we're actually going to go into some habit based stuff, which is relevant to literally everyone, which the habit stuff we're going to go into, you can do in any part of your life because it's all around habits, not specifically around nutrition. It's just around like a habit system. And this is something I follow myself. So make sure you got a pen and paper ready. The thing that I always start with in every single talk that I do, whether it's with one person, whether it's with 10 people, whether it's on Zoom, I always start with the same thing is like, what is your reason why you're here? Like what is the reason? Like you've given up your time on a Tuesday night to do a talk when you could be watching Netflix, you could be going to the gym, you could be going for a walk, could be in the pub, you could be doing whatever you want to do. But what's the reason why you're here? Like, what is it that you want to change? And like, why do you want to change it? Like, why is it so important to you? And like something to think about as well is like, who could it positively impact? Like, if you have a family or a partner, or you own a business, or you're training for some sort of event, who is it going to specifically? Who else is going to benefit from you changing your habits? Like, if you've got a family and you've got young children, and then like you're changing your nutrition habits, and by doing that, you now have more energy, you have better sleep. You can see how just making a few changes doesn't just change your life, but it also changes other people's lives as well. So I think it's really important is like, and again, please, if you've got a pen and paper, write this down so you've actually got something to work off. And just one sec, because I've just realized that I'm not recording this. Oh yeah, I am. Sorry. Right, scrap that. Right. So pen and paper. Right, write these things down. Just scribble away and have a think about it. But like when it comes to like nutrition, and let's just call it nutrition. When it comes to changing your nutritional habits, like why is it that like well, this is why I think people fail. But like, why is it that you feel like you failed with your nutrition? Like maybe you do something for a few days or a week and it stops. Like what is the reason why you fail with your nutrition and changing your habits? Like, what is it? If you've got answers, write it down right now, like make some notes. But I'd say there's three key things that I've noticed from literally being training people and working with people for over bloody hell, nearly 15 years now. I'd say there's three things. The first one is that people just set too unrealistic targets. Like the things that I hear sometimes, and I'm like, you're not going to do it because it's too unrealistic. And I don't say it as blunt as that, but in my head, I'm thinking you're just setting yourself up to fail in a way. And this might be you. You might be listening to this right now and thinking, like, that is literally me. Like, I set myself up to fail. I make it too hard. I make it too complicated. And when I put a question out the other day on Instagram stories, and people replied, and I replied back to them asking for more information. The information I got back, I was just thinking, like, wow, you've overcomplicated too much. You made it too hard. So that's the first thing I say is people set unrealistic goals and they make it too hard for themselves to succeed. The second one is that there's no consequences in a way. Well, there is a big consequence, but the big consequence of not changing nutrition is that you're not going to progress in your health and in your fitness and how you feel and how you look. That's the consequence. But when you think about like paying for a gym membership, so you're all benchmark members, you pay £139 to come to the gym. If you pay £139 and then you don't go to the gym, the consequence, obviously, you're going to miss out on fitness and strength and everything. But the consequence is you're going to be wasting £139 because you're paying and not going. So that's the consequence. And when it comes to nutrition, because in a way you're not sort of paying for it, or maybe like you've not found something that makes it like a consequence, that's another reason why people fail, is because There's not like an accountable reason for why you're sticking with it. And to be honest, the third one that I made a note on, it sort of links to the first one, is that people just make it too hard. Like you make too many changes. When someone starts off a benchmark and I say to them, what's your plan for the next 30 days? And I remember having this conversation with one person and she said, I'm going to come in 3 times. I'm going to go running on the days in between. And I just said, like, when was the last time you went running? She was like, oh, I've not been running for 5 years. I was like, right, well, do you think now's the right time to start going running? And she said, no. And I said, well, and in a way, she looked relieved that I said to her, well, don't do it because you're not going to stick with it. Like, you're making it too hard on yourself. So the simple thing is you need to make it easy, like make your life easy. And the reason why, like a benchmark, we don't dive in too deep on nutrition, and you'll see it on our Instagram and just our communications, and we don't do too many workshops or anything around nutrition, is that like it is hard and it takes a lot of work. That's why we focus all our energy on the training side of it, and we train you 3 times a week. We get to spend nearly 3 hours with you every single week working on it. If we did the same thing with nutrition, yeah, you'd be flying because you've got that help and that support. But it is hard. Nutrition and changing your habits isn't something that just happens overnight. It is something that's hard. So if it's something that's hard and takes a long time, why are you making it hard on yourself? So just think about that. You need to make it as easy as possible. But the bottom line is that you don't need more information. I'm going to do a 5-minute nutrition talk with you, and you'll laugh at the last one. But you don't need more information. We all know how to eat healthy. You don't need someone else telling you how an apple is probably better than a chocolate bar and that sort of thing. I'm not wasting my time telling you these things. I'm going to talk through 5 things in 5 minutes. But you don't need more information. You need a plan. You need something specific to you. And that's why, again, I'll say one more time, that's why we don't put too much nutrition information out online, because it's not as simple as that. It's hard, and it's got to be personal to the person. And last thing on this before we start on the 5-minute nutrition talk is that like changing what you eat is hard, especially if you are an emotional eater. Now, when I think of an emotional eater, I in my head, I think someone that's had a stressful day, gets home, goes straight to the fridge, eats, bang, 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 and like within about 15 minutes, massively regrets everything you just eaten. That in my head is an emotional eater. But at the same time, an emotional eater might be someone that like has a stressful day and just eats something a little bit. It doesn't have to be like super extreme to be an emotional eater. You might not even realize you're an emotional eater. But my point being is that nutrition is hard, and changing your food habits is hard, especially if you are an emotional eater. And we have such a connection with food, especially in our culture. Like if you have a good day, we eat or we drink. If we have a bad day, we eat or we drink. Wedding, eat or drink. It's all centered around the cake and the food. A funeral, same thing. It's just there's food, there's drink involved. So eating is a big part of our culture, and many cultures, to be fair. So what I would love for you to do, if you could take a photo at some point in this talk, put it onto your Instagram, put it onto your story, or just take a photo now and just share it on your Instagram story, just so we can sort of reach more people that are struggling with nutrition, I would be massively grateful. And we're going to start the 5-minute nutrition talk. By the way, I plan for this talk to be about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Not from now, it'd be about 40 minutes from now. But I plan for it to be that long. If you have any questions, just put it into the comment section. Lauren's going to look after the questions and ask me if there is any. 5-minute nutrition talk. I'm going to start in 10 seconds because according to the Zoom, it's 9:50. So I'm going to start in 5 seconds and wrap it up in 5 minutes. Right, 5-minute nutrition talk. Let's go. Bottom line, just eat some form of protein at every single meal. Like most people have low amounts of protein. I'd say the diet is a little bit more on the carbs heavy side, which isn't a bad thing. But if you can just replace some of those carbs for proteins, it's really good for muscle building. It's really good for recovery. It's going to help you become more defined, and it's going to make you feel fuller. So just try and eat some form of protein. I've got 30 seconds left on this screen, so I'm going to do a little bit more. Protein is fish, eggs, meat, poultry, cheese, beans, whey protein shakes, all these sorts of things. just have a bit more protein in every meal. Okay. Sorry, not have a bit more protein, have some form of protein at every meal. That's all you got to think about. You can probably see the number 5 and you're probably laughing, but we'll go into that in a second. One thing that I find really beneficial, and I did this a while back when I wanted to just look at my nutrition, is to just do a 1-day calorie test in a way. If you tend to eat the same foods most days, and this can be really handy because you can see how much calories is in the food that you're eating and whether you are low in protein as well. If anyone's going to track calories, I would do this. Just track it for 1 day. Be really honest. Like, don't start cutting back on things because you won't get an accurate representation. Do it for 1 day. Do it on MyFitnessPal and just see how much calories is in the food that you're eating. And if you do want to know what your calories are, come and speak to us in the gym and we'll work it out for you exactly. I've got 20 seconds left on this one, so I'll have a drink. Remember, questions, notes, thoughts, anything, please comment in the chat box, or you can ask. We'll figure out a way of asking after this at some point. Simple one, third one, half the plate with a big volume of salad. Salad really just makes you feel fuller. So if your goal is weight loss, fat loss, however you want to say it, salad is just going to make you feel fuller, and it just fills out your plate more or your lunchbox more. So that's quite simple one. Just eat more. Eat a higher volume of salad. Flying through this nutrition talk. Now, these last two are more personal to me, but I would say to have easy go-to meals. There's nothing wrong with eating the same foods each day. Obviously, it's good to have some variety, but if eating quite regimented and eating the same foods each day makes you stay on track, just go for it. Stick with that. Like, we don't need to be eating loads of different foods. It would be nice, but if it helps to just stay on one sort of eat the same foods, then obviously just stick to it. So key things I said here is just like, so that you don't binge eat when you're hungry. Something you can just put into a pan or an air fryer that takes little effort, but still has like nutritional value. This way you'll build up confidence and consistency. Oh, ignore that. This way you'll build up confidence and consistency in yourself by having healthy meals instead of going to something else. So there's been times where I'm not going to bang on about an air fryer for the next half an hour, but there's been times where like I have thought I'm just going to have a pizza and just throw it in the oven, but then it's literally just as quick to put like chicken and a sweet potato or something in an air fryer. Bang, done, healthy meal. Just go have easy go-to meals. For me, an easy go-to meal is like salmon in the air fryer, rice, obviously not in the air fryer, and like peas or something. Just easy go-to meals like that. Don't overcomplicate it. Other things with that as well is I'd probably look at like Gusto or the other food box companies. I can't remember what the other one is, but the ones that send you the meals and they send you the recipe cards. I really enjoyed them. The reason I stopped doing them though is because the portion sizes were too small. But I'll just be honest. And this one is like, I don't work for an air fryer company. I don't work for Ninja, honestly. But honestly, just buy an air fryer. But my point here is that just do something that just makes your life easy. My point here is like it makes cooking so much easier. It's more convenient. The food's delicious when you actually use it because it's nice and fresh. But the best way to get results is just to be consistent. And like the best way you can do this is by going for convenience. I would say most of our members are really consistent at going to the gym. They might miss the odd session here and there, but I'd say they really are consistent. And it's because the training is really convenient. You book into the gym, you turn up, you're shown what to do, bang, easy. If you compare that to another gym where you got to go by yourself, you've got to think about what to do, you've got to try and push yourself, and it's not convenient. Whereas with Benchmark, it's convenient. So make your nutrition convenient and simple. And when I say convenient, I don't mean McDonald's all the time. But yeah, air fryers really do save time, and they just help you make better food choices. That's the bottom line. And I've run over on this 5-minute nutrition talk by 20 seconds. So I'm absolutely devastated about that. Right, let's get into this. I'm just going to check sound. Cool. Right, so let's get into this. This is the juicy stuff. This is the stuff I want you to have a pen and paper ready for and to make some notes, okay? So the bottom line is, like, what is your goal with nutrition? Like, what is the plan? What is it you're working towards? Are you looking to lose weight? Are you looking to cut back on alcohol? Are you looking to cook more at home? Are you looking to have better concentration? Do you need more energy? Are you trying to put weight on? Because we do have some members that do want to put some weight on. Do you want more endurance to be able to run? Do you want to lift more weights in the gym? Do you want to work on having less takeaways throughout the week? Do you want to have better sleep? I mean, you're probably thinking, I want all those things, Mark, but we can't focus on all of them. You need to think of what like your specific goal is. So just scribble something down now, which first comes to mind. Like, what is your goal in nutrition? And don't write down. Well, you could write down a few things and then pick one of them, but I only want you to focus on one thing. But like, what is the one thing that you really want to like focus on? For me, if I was thinking about what I want to focus on, is I want to have like mental clarity and I want to have energy to go to the gym. They're the two most important things for me. Like, I want to have mental clarity so that like I can turn up in my best self for benchmark, and I can feel my greatest, and I can have energy to do all the work that I need to do and just have energy for life. That's for me what's most important. I'm not bothered about losing weight. I'm not bothered about gaining more muscle. I'm not bothered about putting weight on. Those things don't interest me. So I focus my nutrition on the thing that is most important to me. So what I would say right now is just write down a few things. And yeah, I'm pretty sure you can see this screen. I'm thinking you can. So I'm just going to read it out anyway. But these are the notes that I've made of what things most people are looking for: more energy, weight loss, cutting back on alcohol or cutting it out completely. It could be stopping smoking, like cooking more often, improve concentration, all these different things. I would probably say write down 3 and just choose the one thing that you really want to focus on. Like, have that as your sole focus. And it doesn't mean you have to focus on it for the rest of your life. It's just going to be 30 days that I want you to focus solely on that one thing. But you need to have something to focus on. I think it goes back to what I said at the start. If you don't have something to focus on, then like you've just got no plan and you've got no structure and you don't know what you're eating for. So you need to have a specific focus around your nutrition. And if you have a random goal or you have no goal whatsoever, like you're going to get random results, or you're probably not going to get any results at all. And the other thing as well, when it comes to motivation and willpower and staying consistent, the things that make you feel motivated are when you start seeing changes with your nutrition. The reason why people come to benchmark and love it is because they see progress with like their training. So it's the same thing with nutrition. You need to see progress in your nutrition, but if you have no goal and you have no plan and you're making your life hard, you're going to see no progress. But be specific with what it is that you're aiming for. You can probably take some of these ideas. But it has to be specific for you. I'm seeing a lot recently that a lot more people are trying to cut back on alcohol, which I think for the most part is really, really good, because I do feel like we just drink a lot. We drink too much. And I think there's a lot of benefit to cutting back on it. So make a note. Hopefully you've written down 3 by now, but we're going to work on 1. Okay. And just to be specific, like weight loss and toning up is not a goal. Like I understand that most people come to the gym and they want to lose weight and they want to tone up. And whenever I say to anyone, what is your goal? That's the exact same thing I hear off 99% of people. I want to lose weight and I want to tone up, but they're not goals. Like, that's something that you want to work towards, and it's probably a look you're trying to go for, but it's not a goal. You need something super specific, because there's nothing wrong with wanting to lose weight, but how much weight do you want to lose? When do you want to lose it by? Like, be specific. And toning up, again, is not a goal. So if you've written as your nutrition goal weight loss and toning up, you need to change those. But the way that I see this is like, you need to take complete ownership of your nutrition. Yes, get help from us. And I'd love it if you emailed me, or when you saw me in the gym, you spoke to me, or you spoke to one of the trainers and you asked for a bit of advice. You said, Mark, I'm trying to work on this one thing. What advice could you give me for the best way to do it? I would absolutely love that. The important thing is that you've got to take full responsibility for your own nutrition. You really have to, because it's your body, it's your life, it's your goals, and you need to take complete ownership of them. Because if you don't, then like no one else will, and you like it's got to be on you to do it. So looking at those goals now that you've written down, and don't not write something down, because this training is about actually progressing with your nutrition and creating a plan. So make sure you've written something down. But why is it that you've written down that goal? And I think it's really important that you write down 3 reasons why you've written down that goal. Like if your goal is, let's just say you're wanting to cut back on alcohol, you want to cut down on alcohol. Why do you want to cut down on alcohol? Is it because you're feeling lethargic the next day and your sleep's poor and your concentration's gone and you just feel hungover and you feel drained? Like write those reasons down, because you need to know why you're doing this thing, why you're doing this goal. And when you know why, you'll work towards it more because it is more important to you. And like this is a bit of soul searching here, but like how will it change you as a person? Like how will it change you? Like what if cutting back on alcohol, let's use this as the example, if cutting back on alcohol is your goal, how will it change you as a person? Again, write down as many answers as you can, write down as many reasons as you can. Like how will this positively impact you? How will it change you as a person? If you're cutting back on alcohol, and is it going to make you a happier person? Is it going to make you have more energy? Is it going to make you sleep better? Is it just going to change the person you are? And are you going to have more positivity? How will it change you as a person? Again, when you see it written down, how it will change you as a person, it's going to make you working towards that goal more enjoyable. And my last question in this part is like, how will it impact the people around you? How will working towards that goal and achieving that goal, how will it positively impact the people around you? So again, if you're a family person, you have a partner, you have children, how will cutting back on alcohol or whatever you choose to do, how will that positively impact the people around you? Will you be more enjoyable to be around? Will you have more energy to go and do things at the weekend? Will you want to get up earlier and go and make more of your day? Think about this. Why is that your goal? How will it change you as a person, and how will it positively impact the people around you? Because when there's other people involved, I guarantee you'll stick to it, and I guarantee you'll work towards it. Again, use the analogy of benchmark. When you come into the gym and you have a trainer and you have members around you, you've got people around you, you do more and you get more out of it. And this is sort of what I'm sort of going through. Okay. So hopefully you're making some notes as we go in, because you're not going to remember all this off your top of your head. You need to have it written down. Oh, sorry. Did I mute myself then? Let me just check this. Oh, just checking you can hear me now. Give it a sec.
Yeah, you're back on, Mark.
Cheers. Right. So, where have we gone here? Let's get rid of this. Get rid of that. Can't hear what you're saying, Nathan. Right. So, what are these notes that I made here? I don't know if they're even relevant to what I was going to say, but let's go off this. So my goal is to cook more often, okay? That's not specific enough, okay? Let's get more specific with this. So cooking more often, and I hear it a lot, and I want to feel better. I want to feel fitter. They're not goals. They're not goals, because a goal is something that is specific, it's tangible, it's something that you can actually work towards. So with this goal of cooking more often, let's get more specific, okay? Because if we're not specific, like we're not, how can we track it? How can we track if we're progressing with it? How can we how do we know if we're working towards something? So it has to be really, really specific. So my question here is, how many times over the next 30 days do you want to cook more often? Just get that out of the way a little bit. How many times over the next 30 days do you want to cook more often? So the same question applies. Let's just use the, does anyone actually, because if you want to just put in the comment section, the chat section, if you want to just write in your goal, really quickly, just write in one of your goals, and I'll just try and, as I work through this, try and use that as an example as well. So if you can, just write down one of your goals, and I'll work off one of them as well. But yeah, so if my goal is to cook more often, how many times over the next 30 days will I be cooking? How will I be cooking? That's the answer. How many times will I be cooking? If I'm looking to cut back on alcohol, how many times over the next 30 days do I want to have as alcohol-free days? If I drink 3 bottles of wine every single week over the space of a month, that is 12 bottles of wine. Okay, so over the next 30 days, I want to drink. Over the next 30 days, I'm going to be drinking 6 bottles of wine. Do you see what I mean? I'm saying something that's really specific and tangible. Like I say, guys, please put in your examples of something you want to personally work towards, and I can just use that as examples as well as I do it. So let me just go off my notes here. So what's really important as well, and I always use this. Let me just see what this chat says. Cool. So yeah, so using the cooking example there, so that's perfect. So what's really important right now is to look at where you are right now with your goal, and I always use this example with steps. So when I speak to someone about steps and I say to them, how many steps you plan to do? They always say 10,000. There's nothing wrong with that, but they always say 10,000. And my response is always, well, how many are you doing right now? And I often hear, I don't know. So it's like saying, I want to save up £10,000 over the next year. Well, how much money have you got right now? I've got none. How much money can you spare? I've got none. So it's like, right, well, maybe we need to change the goal a little bit. So the really important thing is to know where you're at right now. Because if I set the goal of, which I put here, over the next 30 days, I'm going to cook 36 times. What if I don't cook? I cook 0 times right now. Am I really going to go in and cook 36 times over the next 30 days and have cook like nearly a meal every single day? I'm probably not going to do that. So I need to start maybe a little bit slower. So yeah, so what's really important is look where you're at right now. So your goal, so the specific goal you've created, the really specific goal you've created, look where you're at right now with it. How close you are. If your goal is here and you're like right over here with where you are working towards it, then you either need to spread out that goal more so it's over 60 days, or you need to make that goal smaller so it's actually you can work towards it. So examples here. So my example would be something that was cook more often. Yeah. So this is right. I hate reading off these. I hate when I made notes, and I hate reading off them because I always at the time when I write it, it makes sense, but then when I read it back, it doesn't make sense. Right. So an unrealistic goal right now would be to cook 30 times in the next 30 days. Yeah. Ignore this. Right. So an unrealistic goal would be to I'm just going to cook 30 times over the next 30 days. A realistic goal would be to say over the next 30 days, I will cook 12 times. So that's a realistic goal. So I'm not saying, right, I want to cook more often. I'm going to cook 30 times over the next 30 days because it's not realistic. So if I just say, right, over the next 30 days, I'm going to cook 12 times. That's 3 times per week. That's something I can actually work towards. Okay. But the important, so this is where I've made this a little bit confusing, is because when I originally wrote this, I wrote it about 90 days, and that's why that says 36 times. So just sort of ignore that a little bit. But what I'm really getting out here, the really important thing is when you set a goal, is to know where you are right now with that goal, because you can't set a goal and then just work towards it. You need to, if you've got a goal, you need to know exactly where you are right now so you can create a plan to then work towards it. It's like trying to get to London and you put your sat nav in, you don't know where you are in the country right now to get to London. So I'm planning to get to London, but I'm like, I don't actually know where I am right now. So it's like, well, how on earth can I get to London then? So you need to know where you are right now with these goals. So yeah, so this I'm not going to change it now because it'll make it too tricky. But what this is meant to say is over the next 30 days, I'll cook 12 times. It says 36 times because when I wrote it out, I originally went with the 90 days idea. But over the next 30 days, I will cook 12 times. That is my super specific goal. Like, I know, like, that is my goal. And what's really important is, like, where you put your focus and where you put your intentions and where you put your energy, when you put it onto something really specific, you can really work towards it. Now, that is a really specific thing. Over the next 30 days, I'm going to cook 12 times. Bang. If by the end of the month you cook 12 times, you know you've achieved that goal. So you've nailed it. But it's really important you get super specific with your goals, okay? And something that I really do believe in, very famous saying is, where your attention goes, energy flows and results will show. So if you put your focus and your attention on cooking 12 times over the next 30 days, put all your attention on it, put all your energy on it, put all your thought process on it, and then you're going to get results because you're putting everything on it. But if your goals, if your nutrition is like all over the place, you've got all these different ideas and you're fasting one day and you're doing a Cambridge diet one day, and then you're doing calorie counting one day, it's everything's all over the place and you've got nothing to focus on. So it's really important that you get laser focused and don't get distracted. This is where a lot of people go wrong, is that they will have a goal in their head, but then they'll do it for literally a few days, maybe a week at best, and then they go and try something else. But what they don't do is they haven't given it enough time for it to actually become a habit. So it's really important that you don't get distracted. You don't think, oh, this isn't working after a week, I'm going to stop it. You stay with the plan for 30 days. Okay, stick with it. And like I said there, most people are trying to do too many things at once. And it leads to overwhelm. If you think about all the times when you've been overwhelmed in your life, forget about the gym, forget about nutrition. The times where you felt overwhelmed, when I felt overwhelmed, it's because I have had no plan and everything's just been all over the place. There's been times where I've had ideas for doing things. I've got like other work going on that's outside of benchmark. And literally I'm thinking like my head's going to explode at some point. And it's purely because I've not physically written it down on a piece of paper with what I need to do. And as soon as I've got it all out of my head and I've written it all down, it's like, great, well, I know what to do now. I feel calmer and I've not got overwhelmed, and I'm more relaxed and I can start working towards it. But what most people try and do is too many things. They overcomplicate it. They become overwhelmed. And what happens when you become overwhelmed? You stop everything. And you're probably laughing now thinking, you just explained my life right there, Mark. Like I said there, when you become overwhelmed, you stop, and then you just resort back to old habits. And this is something that Lucy really talks about, is that when we get distracted, or when we become overwhelmed, or we become stressed, or we become anxious, like we resort back to old habits. And old habits usually include drinking, binge eating, watching Netflix, doing nothing. There's nothing wrong with doing those things from time to time. But if all those things are leading to you not feeling great about yourself, then it's something that we need to work on, isn't it? So now you have your goal, your really specific goal. Let's create a plan. So this is my goal around cooking. Like what will I cook over the next 3 days? I'm not cooking a Gordon Ramsay meal. I'm cooking something really simple. What do I need in the house? What do I need in the house to be able to cook that food? Like, when will I go food shopping? Will I need a recipe? Who can help me with this? If your partner is a great cook, or a relative, or a friend, someone that is, we don't even have to be a great cook to eat good food. Like, it doesn't need to be complicated. But what I'm saying is, who could you get to potentially just help you a little bit? Come around and show you some basics. Could you watch a YouTube video? And just things like, right, so just go over this one more time. You want to cook 12 times over the next 30 days. At the start of the week, I'm thinking, right, what will cook? What do I need in the house so that I can cook it? When will I go food shopping? Will I need a recipe? Who can help me with this? And so I'm not getting stressed out and overwhelmed because I'm thinking, right, it's a Sunday. I've got to cook 3 meals this week. These are the questions that I'm working off. What will cook? What do we need in the house? What's the food shopping? Blah, 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 blah. And let me think of the alcohol example. So let's talk about that. So if you're looking to cut back on alcohol, right, Sunday, let's look at the week. I've got a social occasion then. I've got a stressful day then. I've got back-to-back Zoom meetings, and I've got a stressful day, and I know that I'm going to end up. Traditionally, I would drink after a stressful day. So you look at your week and think, right, I've got these things happening over the next 7 days. What do I need to have in place to make sure that I don't go resorting to drinking on Tuesday when I've had a stressful day? Right, Tuesday, Zoom meetings all day. Let's make sure that on Tuesday I go to the gym after work, or I go to the gym on that day to make me feel less stressed. Have something in place. That's what we've got to think about. Let's have something in place for it. Have a plan in place. And again, Sunday is a really important day for me because I plan everything out on a Sunday. Everything to do with benchmark, everything to do with myself. Like, I make plans me and Fleur tend to make plans on a Sunday and plan out what we want to do for the week. And I specifically make sure on a Sunday that I actually plan things out. Sunday morning for me, get up, have a coffee, plan. And I've got like a full planner that I use, that like the mentorship group that I'm in, I use a planner to help me plan everything out. And that's something that they provide. So what I'd probably recommend is get yourself a nice journal. Get yourself a nice journal where you can just sit down Sunday morning and plan out your week. So if you're, like I say, if your goal is cutting back on alcohol, right, what do I need to do to make sure I cut back on alcohol this week? Every single Sunday morning, honestly, I can tell you, when I started doing this about 5 months ago, it's life-changing for me. And it's been really helpful with everything I do because it gets me excited for the week. It sets me up, and I can just empty everything in my thoughts into that journal. So my plan would be around cooking. It'd be every Sunday I will choose 3 recipes, plan which day to cook, and go food shopping, and that's it. So if I've had a stressful day on Tuesday, come home from work, right, I've got all my food in the house, I've got the recipe already sorted, bang, let's go, let's cook a meal. Right, so last few bits in here. So let's just quickly just go over this, just so you know. Create a really specific goal, really specific. Make sure if there isn't a number in there, it's not specific enough. If you're saying cook more often, it's not specific enough. If you say cook 3 times per week, that's a goal because it's a number, it's tangible, and you can actually accurately measure it. So just remember that. Always, maybe even life, remember this. If there isn't a number on that goal, it's not specific enough. And I've just spoke about this actually, but yeah, how do you track your progress? Like I said at the start, your motivation, your willpower, your consistency will maintain when you're seeing changes with you, your body, and you're seeing progress. So if we know for a fact that we become more motivated and we stick with it and we stick consistent when we're progressing, let's make it easy to progress, and let's make sure we're actually tracking our progress. So yeah, and just a couple of really important points here is you need to create a way of tracking your progress with your nutrition that doesn't include weighing yourself. That's so, so important. Like, honestly, please just write that down now and remember it. And I know some of you listening in right now will have a weight loss goal, but you need to remember you need to find a different way of tracking your progress that doesn't include weighing yourself. And the bottom line with progress is that you need to keep a score and you need to be tracking it, or else how do you know if you're winning? Like, that is the bottom line. How do you know if you're progressing and winning and keeping moving forwards if you're not tracking it and you're not keeping score in a way? So I know I've just said this, but I'll just go over it one more time. The best way to track your progress is to plan in the days when you're going to review your progress. So I would do this on a Sunday. Literally just do it on a Sunday. Do a Sunday morning review. Maybe even just try and do it before anyone's up in the house. If you have a family or you've just got you live with people, maybe do it before anyone else is up. Just because it's you by yourself and you can do it. Sometimes when you get up and then like family are up and stuff, like you can get distracted really easy. So I'd recommend to do this on a Sunday. And then you look at your week and you say, first you do a review. So it's like, right, have I cooked 3 times this week? Yes, I did it on Monday. Yes, I did it on Friday. Yes, on a Wednesday. Boom, I've smashed it. I've won this week. Amazing, well done. Okay. Right. And if you didn't, so what can I do this week to make sure that I cook 3 times? Like, what is it? So what's the reason why? So let's just say I didn't cook on Monday because stressful day, I wasn't prepared and I didn't end up cooking. Right. If they're the reasons why, then let's make sure we have the food in the house and we're making sure that we're cooking. Sorry, make sure we have food in the house. But to be honest, that's the bottom line. Just make sure you have food in the house so that you can actually cook it. So the first thing you do is you review your last week and you plan for your next week. Your plan for your next week, if you had a successful previous week, is just to do the same thing again. Don't overcomplicate it. If you're winning and you're progressing, don't change anything. Why would you change anything? If things are moving forwards, why would you change anything? Don't. Just don't. So that's that. Plan and track your progress. Really, really, really important. Like I say, guys, if you've got any questions at all, or any thoughts, just stick it in the chat box, or I'll put a post out on Facebook after this. So these are my 5 pieces of advice to finish off with. Okay. So number 1 is to keep it really, 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 really simple. Keep it simple. Like, and I've said this several times already, but most people overcomplicate it with nutrition. They make it too complicated. Like I say, one week you're doing a detox diet. The next week you're doing Cambridge diet. The next week you're back on Slimming World. The next week you're fasting. And it's like you're overcomplicating it. You're making it too hard. And again, the reason why I know this is because when I put that post out on Instagram the other day and I responded back to people asking for feedback and I saw the responses, I was like, wow, that is just, you're overthinking it too much. You need to keep it simple. So these are my goals around nutrition. This is how I keep it simple in my head. I eat protein at every meal so I can recover from the gym. Quite simple. I have 1 to 2 portions of carbs. If I'm training, I'll have 2 so I can have more energy. I eat plenty of veggies, really good for your health, makes you feel fuller, as they have lots of nutrients. And I do have minimal alcohol because I want to keep my mind fresh so I can be on top form for benchmark. I can keep progressing with benchmark as a business. I can give my best to the members. I can give my best to the trainers. I can give my best to the people that I love. That's the reason why I really cut back on my alcohol. So they're my goals. I need to steal these goals, but they might not be that important to you. You've got to create your own, but these are mine. Eat protein every meal. And you'll see there, when I've wrote this down, I've put so, and this word's really important. And I've put and the reason why I put is that I know the reason why I'm eating protein. I'm not just eating protein. I'm eating protein every meal so I can recover from the gym. I'm having 1 to 2 portions of carbs so I can have more energy. I'm eating plenty of veggies and salad so I can have the nutrients. I drink minimal alcohol so I can have better performance at benchmark. So when you're writing down these goals for yourself, try and put so I or so that. Give a reason behind why you're doing it. Just seeing this chat box. I'll come to the questions at the end, guys. So this is, I think this is one of the most important things. And I think this is how you will stick to this long term and you'll feel happy about this long term. But make your own rules. Like, it's your life, it's your body. Make your own rules as long as they are aligned with your goals. So I have a few simple rules that I made that work for me. They help me to feel leaner, feel healthier, and have more energy. And like when I stick with these rules, I feel good about myself. If I do these rules, I know rules makes it sound really strict and regimented, but it's just a simple way to explain it. But when I stick to these rules and achieve them, I feel good because like I know I've achieved them. So just some simple rules that I stick by. And just before I go on to this, please don't just steal my rules. These are stuff that are relative to me. You might look at that and think, that's really good, I'm going to start doing it. But make sure they align with your goals. This is the thing why we don't put nutrition advice out. And this is why I don't go looking for nutrition advice online, is because they're telling it you from their point of view and it's not relative to you. So you've got to make it specific for you or else you won't stick with it. So when it comes to alcohol, just drink water after every drink. So if I have a pint, just make sure I drink some water after it or during. Walk home or walk to the place if possible so I can get some steps in and helps to sort of not feel like drunk in a way. If I've eaten a lot, so say I've gone out for a meal and I've just eaten a lot in a way, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But so say I've been for a 3-course meal, I just make sure like I go to the gym on that day. So if I know I'm going out for a 3-course meal tonight and I know I'm going to overindulge, or I'm going to the cinema and I'm going to have chocolate or whatever, I'll just make sure I train on that day, or I make sure I go for a 1-hour walk. And then the next day, going back to the 3-course meal example, where if I've really overeaten and I've probably eaten like a day's calories in an hour, which is always good fun. But the next day is I'll try and delay my breakfast in the morning. So if I eat at 7 o'clock at night and I go overboard, having the best time of my life, I just make sure tomorrow, the next day, I'll have a couple coffees in the morning. I'll delay having my breakfast as much as possible so that I'm not eating first thing and I'm getting all those calories in straight away. I'm doing like a fast in a way then. Remember, these rules are relative to me. And my rule is eat chocolate most days because chocolate is great and it makes me happy. These are my rules, don't take them. But yeah, with these simple rules, I don't need to do cheat days. I hate cheat days. I hate the idea of it. Like, what are you cheating on? I just don't like those ideas about cheat days. It's just a day to just indulge. Like, why do you need to have a cheat day? But with these simple rules, I don't need to do cheat days or anything like that because I don't feel like I'm on a restrictive diet. I'm just sticking to a plan that makes me feel good, and it's stuff that I can actually stick to. So last couple on there. So this one's really important for me, and when I put there's an Instagram post I put up a while back, which was about my own transformation. It is a transformation, but it wasn't like a planned one. It just sort of happened purely because it changed my environment, and it was when I moved into this house about 2 years ago, and I didn't see how much my body had changed. And then when I ended up just taking a photo, like some point this year, I think it was when I was in France. And I was like, wow, you can see a massive difference. And this massive difference was down to the fact that I just changed my environment. I didn't see the photo of myself and think, God, I need to go on a diet. I need to go to the gym. I need to do more walking. I didn't even realize. But what I just naturally did is I just changed my environment. So what I'd say is like, look at your environment. Your environment is everything. Like, and the bottom line is you'll adapt to your environment. Again, when you come into the gym, when you come into benchmark, like you'll adapt to that environment and you'll have more energy because it's an energetic atmosphere. So look around you, the places you go to, the people you're with, so your peer group, And the stuff in your house, if it's in your house and you're trying to cut back on something, you're going to eat or drink it. So have a look at that. What's in your fridge? What's in your cupboards? Change your environment. The simplest thing, if you're trying to cut back on like alcohol, let's just say chocolate, crisps, takeaways, whatever it is, if you're trying to cut back on them, just don't have them in the house. Like after Christmas and after Easter, the two worst times because there's so much chocolate and stuff in the house at that time. Best time of my life though. But yeah, look at the things that make you feel low or encourage unhealthy habits. Get them out of your environment. If you have a friend that wants to just go out drinking every single Friday night, don't get rid of them. But what I'm saying is, could you just change and just do something different? Could you go for a walk, or could you just go to the cinema? Could you just do something different that doesn't involve that thing? Get out, change the environment. Ultimately, if you're trying to change your lifestyle but not change your environment, then it's not going to happen. That's the bottom line. If you're trying to change something, but you're not changing your environment, think about when you went to the gym that you went to in the past. If you did go to the gym, that is. Think about the previous gym you were at and how it felt. And then think about when you changed your environment and you came to benchmark, and think about the changes that happened in that time. They change massively, and your results will change, and you'll adapt to your environment. So change your environment, places you go to, the people you're with, the stuff in your house, what's in your fridge, your cupboards, what makes you feel low or encourages unhealthy habits. What can you eliminate to change your environment? That's the stuff you need to think about. If you're going to take a photo of anything, take a photo of that screen, this screen right now, take a photo of it. And those are the things you really need to think about. The light's just gone off in it. All right. They're the key things you really need to think about. And I've gone through this, so I'm not sure why that's on there. So last couple slides. So find someone to keep you accountable would be really good. So who could join you over the next 30 days? A friend, a family member that could really help you over the next 30 days to keep you accountable. Having someone to keep you accountable who you can share your progress with and get some support with is really, really important. So see who it is that you could get some help off for this. It could be a partner. Again, if you're in your environment, if you want to change your environment, and you want your partner to get more involved, or your family, then get their help with it and make it like a family thing as well. Last slide. Okay, so this is what I'll finish off with, and I'll stop sharing this now. The bottom line is, for you to change, you need to make a plan. You need the plan to be really, really specific, like really specific. And then you need to be reviewing what you're doing each week. Every single Sunday morning, review how that week's gone and then plan for that next week ahead. Like that's what you need to do. And you just need to keep it really simple and not overcomplicate it. Don't make it more challenging. Like make your life as easy and as simple as you possibly can do. Okay. And that's all I have to say. I'm quickly just going to go onto this chat just to see if